So I started today's update thinking I was gonna be like, all right, we're gonna do this in SDL. I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna start taking my C code, that C++ code started writing already. I'm gonna do it in SDL, and it's gonna be nice and perfect. And no, it's not, because I am way out of my depth here. I know C and C++ on a very, very fundamental level. Mostly C, not really C++. I know C on a very fundamental level, but I don't think I know it enough to do a project of this scope in the language yet. So I've taken a step back and we're gonna go back to basic. Um, there's a chance I could probably pull this off in Java, honestly, because I have done projects like this in Java before, but I'm gonna work my way up to SDL and C++. But for now, I'm going back to QBasic, and I need to make some graphics because I think it would be much easier to be testing the scrolling and everything, not in ASCII, but with graphics. So here's Pisco, the pixel editor, and I'm just making some tiles in it. And I was gonna make them in the old Game Boy tools I used to use, but those don't work on my screen recorder, so I'm being forced to level up. So yeah, here's the graphics. It's just replacement. I mean, just like placeholder stuff. I'm probably gonna replace these. Okay, Kairos, I know we spoke about this, and I'll be reaching out to you for real graphics soon. But right now, it's just placeholder, just to make sure I can test this out right. If you notice, I'm doing a lot of flailing in this because, I want to be honest, I haven't used these programs in quite some time. I've really just been focused on my coding for the past few months. So, getting back into what's the program called again? Getting back into LDTK, getting back into Pisco. It's good for me, I think. I think it would be nice to leverage these tools that we have so far. Notice I'm also trying to break this thing apart in Python, because I want to be able to turn this map into like something I could read with QBasic. And Python is just much easier to operate with files in than it is in QBasic, so I'm trying to make a little converter that can extract the level data out and convert it to something I can read in BASIC. So I gotta figure out what type of file structure I want for the actual levels themselves, but so far I'm just trying to get an array at least. So far I'm just trying to get an array that can store the level data and the NPCs in it. I don't really have a method of recognizing which NPC is which at the current moment, which I don't think is good at all. That's why I was saying I either need to dive deeper into LDTK or create my own level editor that allows me to add the NPCs and just type in information about them. So maybe that'll be what I do in the next video, but right now let's just continue with this.
Is this supposed to happen? One thing,
Alright everyone, so in the programming I was doing this evening, I hit a bit of a breakthrough. And I want to share that with you, as well as work out some calculations regarding this breakthrough. So, this breakthrough is regarding how I want to store the information for each map. Now originally I was thinking about having just an array with the blocks and the NPCs in the array. So stored kind of like how an image is stored. So let's draw that out. So if I have an array, let's just call this 25 or 256 tiles. 256 tiles by 256 tiles. And each tile is a byte. This isn't accounting for the NPC data or any other specific information regarding each tile. But let's say each tile is a is a byte. So the size of each map in memory would be the file for each town will be for each map will be 256 by 256. So let's see what that is. 256 times 256. That is 65,536. So if I'm not mistaken, that is 64K. Alright, so 65K bytes. Not kilobytes, just 1,000 bytes. So here we go. That's the amount of bytes. This is nice, but it's not very efficient, because what if I have a town that's really long or really tall, or that has more than 256 tiles? Or what if I have a town that's really small? Would it make sense to store this many bytes of information just for something this big? And I don't think it is. So as I was doing my programming and I was doing the array manipulation in Python, I realized that we don't really need to do this. And I want to come up with a better file format spec for this. So for that file format spec, instead of doing it like this, we have a file which is comprised of where each entry is comprised of 3 bytes. It's gonna go like this. So each byte is it includes 1 byte for X, 1 byte for Y, and 1 byte for the type. So I'm just gonna call this T. So let's say if the town has 60 of these blocks in it. So it's gonna be 3 bytes. Wait. How many bytes does an integer take? That is a good point. How many bytes does an integer take? I believe this is integer, right? This is the max for integer. Let me see. Is that 2 to the power of 8? So 4 bytes. So that's not what I was expecting. So that's 4, 4, 4. So we don't. This probably doesn't need to be an integer, but we'll just keep it as one for now. So each entry is going to be 12 bytes, and so we're just going to have a whole bunch of 12 byte chunks. So let's say we have 50 of these for a small town. So 12 times 50. 12 times 50. That's 600. So 600 bytes for a scene when that could have been 65K or 65,000 bytes for a scene. I think this is a pretty big savings. And furthermore, one really cool thing that you just saw me do in the tile editor, which I did not know it had, but after investigating it and working with it, I believe that this is something that we could really capitalize, is being able to there's like an entity layer. So in the entity layer, you can create like things, like you can create like objects basically and have them spawn in a certain spot. So I think having a first file that has all the basically where everything's going to be in the file, and having a second file that has an entity layer that takes an entity layer and like turns each one into like a and tells you where all the NPCs are, and then so when the program sees that, it links things. So this isn't exactly a tile map here, what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So this T stands for type, not tile. So some of them might be tiles, like the doors and the blocks and the walls and the trees. Those might be tiles. However, if I have number 4 or whatever, that's whatever for an NPC, that NPC is going to look in the other file for the reference. and find which entity it is. So let's actually draw up the spec for the file format for the entity thing. So this is for the actual map itself, the type map, and we can erase this because we already know this information now. And we're gonna come up with the spec for the entity map. And because I'm probably gonna turn this into like a binary format, I want to make sure that we have the byte things laid out. So we're gonna start off with the entity count. Four bytes. And 4-byte integer. I'm just gonna do this for NPCs for now because I feel like having too much variability might be a bit confusing. Though I can probably expand this. NPC count. So that's how many NPCs there are. And for each entry, we're gonna have the name. No, not name. Name length. Name. And the name is just going to be bytes. STR. Dialogue or speech length. (4b) int. And then the speech. Bytes. There we go. There we go, right there. So I have to lean over so my freaking light doesn't get messed up. Doesn't mess up the thing. But yeah, that's what this file is going to look like. I could expand this spec later, but I feel like it's pretty representative. It's just the NPC count. It counts how many entries we have for the amount of NPCs that are in the system, and then each one we have the name length, we have the name, we have the speech length, and then the speech. So if your name is 5 bytes, it's going to be 4 bytes, 5 bytes, and if your speech is 20 bytes, 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 20. So 4, 5, 4, 20. 8, 5, 8, 4, yeah, 8, 5, 20, 33, right? Yeah, 33. So that's cool. Alright, so yeah, I think this is a really nice base for keeping track of what belongs where. We can totally expand this, but I wanted to break this down at the byte level because I'm working at the whole point of this is to make RPGs at the low level, right? And I mean, LDTK is great because it lets you look at all this in JSON, but because we're not working with JSON, I don't feel like making a JSON parser at that level right now. I want to be able to go through this byte by byte, basically. And I think that this is a great way to do that. I think that this is pretty good. So, yeah, back to coding, I guess. Thanks.